Hey, welcome to the Sports Reverends podcast. My name is Dan.
And my name's Drew.
We're no experts, but we are
the Sports Reverends.
Hey, welcome to the Sports Reverends podcast. We have Sports Reverend Drew back. Welcome back, Drew.
Oh, thanks. It's good to be back. Exciting time, but, lack of sleep.
Kid number three.
Boy number three, but
outnumbered.
Outnumbered, but one of them's starting school now, so we're, evening the odds a little bit. But I'm excited to be back. I'm excited sports are back.
Yes.
Something to free our minds of all this craziness. So, yeah.
Well, you look good.
Oh, thanks.
We're also joined with the legend himself, Andrew Hansen.
Come on.
Andrew, I want to let you know something before anyone says anything, that for anyone listening, Andrew was a huge inspiration for me in my faith journey in my life. He was actually the first one. There had to be three because I'm a really thick-headed person, I think. And he was the first one that said he felt like God was telling me to go be a pastor. And I was like, okay, this guy, he's crazy. That's not my call at all. I'm supposed to be a businessman, take over dad's business, make all the money. And but Andrew was the first one who actually believed in me and saw that. And so that's a huge role you played in my life, man.
Man, thanks. Where was that? Was that at Manhattan?
Manhattan Beach Retreat Center. And yeah, it was wild. So Andrew, why don't you first tell us a little bit about what you do?
Man, yeah. So I got three boys, just like Drew. Three boys. It's great. It's busy. Been married for 15 years. Been in ministry for, I think, full-time ministry for like 13-ish years. Yeah, and so right now, I work in Christian nonprofit work, and so we just actually started a Christian charity, basically from the ground up out here in Edmonton, and it's called Youth Rise, and it's specifically designed to do prevention work with high-risk youth or vulnerable youth populations here in Edmonton, and that's it's been like a growing passion of mine. I was a pastor for 6 years at a large church in Edmonton, and then just started to see, I think, some of the demographic of youth in our neighborhood that were kind of being underserviced and unreached. And I kind of just started being pulled, I guess, or drawn to what could it look like if I just devoted my entire time to this. And man, it's been a cool journey. So I had no idea how to start a charity or anything like that, but just knowing that it was what I was called to do and taking one step at a time. And we're at a really cool point right now where God has just been in it. So we have 5 staff on our team, and we just acquired a building, and, this is all in the midst of, worldwide pandemic. So it's been really cool. There's some good vision, and we have plans to be all over our city and probably spreading to other cities too. That's our plan in the next 5 years. So
that is unreal. I love that. I'm a youth guy myself, as you know, and I'm passionate about that. And to hear that is just inspiring. So that's awesome, Andrew. Okay, now tell us a little bit about your sports career, your sports background.
Wasn't much of a career. Man,
None of us have much of a career. It's fine.
Yeah. You know what? Man, yeah, sports have been such a huge part of my life, really. And from a young kid, man, I casually playing baseball until I was 12, probably playing basketball since I was 6 years old. Man, I got into all sorts of things. Never really got into hockey, but football in high school, played that. So I played high school football, high school basketball, did some track, did all sorts of stuff. It was always a huge part of my life.
What position in football?
I played middle linebacker.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, man, I loved it. And you know what? Like I only started in grade 10, and I started to really excel in football. It's just like my body. I was in grade 11. I was like 6'3", 200 pounds. So just a big guy, and my body was a little more naturally built for football than basketball, and so just loved letting out aggression and hitting people. And so I ended up going and playing for a year at University of Calgary for the Dinos, and
Nice, man.
ended up getting, I had numerous head injury, concussions, so I had to stop football. Then I went, that was kind of my year of transition when I was 19, and kind of really came to a true understanding of who I was and what I was called to, like you were kind of talking about. And I went to Briarcrest out to go to Bible college and played basketball for 2 years out there, and then got more concussions, had to quit. So I'm like the concussion master. So everyone that knows me knows that I'm like, I have my PhD in concussion. So but yeah, man, sports. And then after, of course, not being able to play competitively, was playing some men's league, kind of, that kind of stuff, but really got into kind of coaching, but also just utilizing basketball as an outlet for young men, especially, transferring some of my passion from actually playing the game to actually coaching and seeing young people find like a real place in sport. Like we open up our gym for drop-in basketball all the time, and it's a place I find where everyone just becomes, kind of one. Guards get dropped, and it's just about the game and about playing and about camaraderie, and it's a great place to insert mentorship into young people's lives, I think, as they get to know you and just sweat on the court together. So that was fun. And then, playing men's league 2012, got another concussion, had to stop playing men's league. And then just last year in January, playing drop-in basketball with like high school, college age kids, got another concussion. So I just stopped. So now I can't play anymore. I'm never allowed to actually play in a game. Wow. But I do coach my boys now. And I love it, man. Basketball has given me so much, I think, and has been such an amazing vehicle for ministry for us. And so I love the game, love everything about it. So can't play ever again though. I told my boys the only time I'd actually play, like really play again, is when they kind of start becoming teenagers. I was like, I will give you guys each $100 when you can beat me in one-on-one.
Yes. That's awesome, man.
I just go, blocking them and all that stuff. It's fun. So
very cool.
Awesome. It's good.
Drew, can you block your kids yet? Are you at that level?
Oh yeah. Well, I've taken Cooper out to the golf course a couple times. It's really fun being able to like enjoy something that you love with your kids. So it's awesome getting to do that with your kids. I'm excited as they grow up.
It's unreal. It's so cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so for everyone listening, that's just a little bit of a teaser of what we're putting together. Hopefully by the end of this year, the Gospel of Sports. We're going to be taking different interviews and segments from our show that talk about faith and sports. And we're putting a little audiobook together, and definitely love to have Andrew as one of our chapters, and I look forward to that and how that comes together, and hope that's a huge encouragement to anyone who gets to listen to it. Why don't we hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll get into some NBA discussion.
Have you ever thought about how well your investments are performing? Have you wanted to understand how the stock market works and how you can look after your financial future, but have been unsure of where or even how to get started? Train to Invest is North America's leading investment education and training corporation, with the sole purpose of providing a new way of thinking about wealth management. Through teaching, training, and coaching individuals in both the art and science of self-directed investing, Train to Invest offers a complete education and training experience to empower families to begin their journey of planning for future generations through investment education. To find out more, look at www.traintoinvest.com and download our free ebook. Again, www.train2invest.com to find more information about our program and download our free ebook.
Okay, and we're back. I want to start with you, Drew. Have you been watching the Raptors Celtics?
Oh, I've been watching as much as I can. I've been following the games on the phone for most part, but
Right?
watching the highlights and definitely excited for a game 7. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm excited for the Raps. I think they have a good chance. Yeah, we'll see. The big boys got to come to play.
My heart probably stopped about 4 times
Oh
throughout
my
that game
gosh.
6 because it was wild. It was absolutely crazy. And one of the things that kind of struck me from the Boston players and some of their staff that have been in interviews and a bunch of their fans, especially the ones that I talk with Overtime Heroics, the different Boston writers, they're blaming the refs. That's what they're holding on to is the refs are against them, and Toronto Raptors are getting all the calls. Now, for both of you, when have you ever heard the Toronto Raptors being on the ref side and getting all the beneficial calls throughout your lives?
Never.
Never. Yeah. Never, but it's kind of Raptors fans are equally held up, to blame in this. I kind of find like I hear that all the time. I think
Definitely.
naturally there's a natural barrier right there because everyone's rooting for the other team. We are the other, which we love, and we've embraced that role by this time. But I think obviously there's some reffing calls, but the whistles were pretty equal, were they not, in that game?
That game, the Raptors had one more foul call against them than the
Yeah.
Celtics.
Yeah.
In every other game, it's been by far Raptors have way more foul calls against them. So,
But it's always going to be the last missed call that's illuminated or like.
Oh yeah,
it's
for sure.
that happens everywhere. But you look at Canadian teams, not just in basketball, like even in hockey, it's always the Canadian teams that seem to be getting the raw end of the deal. So it's funny that Celtics fans and I guess everyone rooting against the Raptors are saying the refs are on the Raptors side because that's laughable to me.
okay, for either one of you, what stuck out to you in Game 6? Like, what is there something that struck you or something that inspired you?
Just how average Pascal Siakam is. um,
I was kind of saying at the end, like, don't pass him the ball.
like
Please, no. He kept getting stripped. Smart kept stripping it from him.
Like
It was so wild.
I know the Celtics have really good defenders. Like when they stick Jaylen Brown on him or Marcus Smart, like those guys are top level defenders. But this guy's supposed to be our star, and 12 points in a double overtime game. Like,
no, it looked like he was deflated. Like it looked like he had lost all sense of like confidence, and because really if Lowry didn't step up or Norm didn't step up, that game is
Toast.
The game is done. We're done.
Toast.
And
Gasol
actually too, man.
Yeah, Gasol played nice
thought
second
that
half.
he was struggling so much, right? And
Yeah.
when you see he was walking on, he's almost ripping his jersey apart.
Yeah.
And then he goes and leaves and comes back, and he had probably, man, the few possessions that he first came back, phenomenal. He had a block shot, ran coast. He's shooting threes again. He looked pretty loose out there, which was nice at the end because he's been really struggling. He's looked really slow on his feet, I think. And
yeah, for sure. I think the bubble's been hard.
Well, and it's getting him into foul trouble too. That he's not able to move as swiftly as he maybe once did.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna come to the defense a little bit here of Pascal Siakam. Yes, absolutely, he's been struggling on the offensive end. I will say this though, defensively, he's been a beast. He's been making up for his length and athleticism makes up for the size of Lowry and Van Vliet. He's the guy getting out to the. Well, I know Boston said a lot of corner threes, but he's challenging them. And when they went to small ball, I've been preaching small ball for the Raptors for a little while against Boston, and they finally went to it, held it for most of the fourth quarter and both overtimes. And between him and OG, cleaning up the boards, cleaning up just big-time box outs, like I loved seeing that from him. And when he hit that one baseline jumper, I think I think it was the first overtime. And I was like, okay, we have to remember that Kawhi Leonard was in this place too, where it took him time to learn how to be that closer role, right? He was just as poor as that role when he was with Indiana and learning from the Spurs, right? So it just takes time. We can't expect him to be this guy right from the beginning. I think it's going to take time, and that's my defense of Pascal. All right. What do you guys think for Pascal in Game 7? You think he turns it up a bit?
Yeah, of course he will. I think he's going to. And if Pascal even, I mean, defensively, you're right. He did play. He's long and he's quick and he moves laterally nice. He challenges shots, but he needs to turn it on. So to me, like the biggest thing that I thought was indicative of where his mind was at was Brown has 5 fouls. He's got an opportunity to just take that in and just stuff it and barbecue chicken on Brown. And
that's right.
To me, they had a few like one-on-one opportunities, and he settled for either like 15-foot shots or just passing out weirdly, like uncharacteristically passing, like taking a dribble and passing out. So I think he just needs to get going. I have no doubt that he'll be the difference maker if he can get his confidence up, because although yes, it's going to take him time to become more than just an all-star, to be kind of like that top tier level player. I think he can do it, but right now it's a mental gap, I think, for him.
For sure.
Got all the skills, all the chops in the world to become a top 15, top 10 player, I think, in the NBA in the years to come. But he needs to step up for sure. But again, it's not going to make or break his career, I don't think.
I agree. I think it was last Saturday I listened to this interview with Drew. Do you remember who Colin Cowherd's like replacement is on his show? Oh
yeah, I forget his name though.
Anyways, that guy was interviewing a guy named David Nurse. David Nurse is the nephew of Nick Nurse, and his role in the NBA is they call him a mental coach. And basically, he works with any players that want to sign up for this mental coaching, and he works with them with confidence and with boosting their confidence. And one thing that he learned from Michael and Kobe is that they created a highlight reel of a lot of their epic moments, and they watched that highlight reel before every practice. I didn't know that. That kind of was a thing that helped them make it like more than just a regular memory, but even in their subconscious know that they can do this. And he's been working with a guy like Norman Powell and OG and a bunch of players throughout the NBA actually. And I just thought that was really cool to see. You mentioned confidence, and it was really cool to see Pascal gain that confidence back. You can see it with his shooting. Yeah, he's like repositioning himself, even hesitating with the ball before he shoots it. It's like, come on, man, you got this. You got to be confident. So it'd be cool to see him turn that around. Anyways, let's jump to Game 7 predictions. Game 7 predictions. I'm going to go first, okay? And I'll tell you straight up, the Raptors are going to win this game by 8 points. All right, 8 points. Nick Nurse is going to mix it up with – he's going to keep the starting lineup to start, but he's going to bounce quickly to Ibaka and go small and have a good rotation of those 3 lineups. Another 40-minute piece for Lowry and Siakam for sure. But they're going to win by 8 is my prediction. What do you guys got? And why?
I think it's Raps I think it's Raps down to the wire again, but the Raps are going to, they'll take it. I have strong convictions that they're going to come through in the end. Although I'm a little worried about Kemba kind of getting going, to be honest, because they nixed themselves. It basically was a wash having those two, Pascal and Kemba. But yeah, Raptors, I got to give it to the Raptors. I think honestly, the way they're trending, they'll figure it out, and Pascal is going to come alive. So Raptors for sure, but it'll be down to the wire.
Love it.
I think you guys have a lot of wishful thinking going on. I'm a Raptors fan, but I can't see, like you said, I can't see Kemba having another game like this, 2 in a row. And I just think if you look at their roster, player for player, Boston has the better roster. The only guy I questioned coming in their starting five was Daniel Tice, and Daniel Tice has proven to be a solid player. Like,
it's like, who is he? Now I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to pronounce his name before.
Right. And yeah, so I think just defensively, offensively, I think they'll win. It'll be close, and I hope the Raptors win, but I can't do a sweep here, Raptors. So
all right, we'll have to wait and see. So you're saying Kemba's the X factor for the Celtics, eh?
Well, I think Kemba and I think Daniel Tice is a difference maker on the floor. Like,
I found they found this game 6. They kind of found something to really hurt Tice. Is it Tice or Thice?
I think it's Tice.
Tice.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyways, when Lowry and Van Vliet brought him out to the wing on a pick and roll, you can attack him on the pick and roll, and he was struggling. You saw that throughout the fourth and the first overtime, and I think I'm sure Coach Nurse would see that, and he's going to exploit that quite a bit, I think. But we'll see. Okay. I guess we'll say it this way. If the Celtics or the Raptors are to win, which team stands a better chance, or how do they match up against Miami is what I'll say. How do the Celtics match up against Miami, and how do the Raptors match up against Miami?
I would imagine that the Heat right now are kind of hoping the Raptors win. I think that they would probably rather they match up a lot better than the Raptors or than they would with the Celtics. That's my prediction. And the Heat are on an absolute tear right now. So it'll be interesting to see once they actually. I mean, they completely just eliminated Giannis. It was unreal. Like I can't believe that they took him out. And so I don't know. I think both the Celtics and Raptors are much deeper, I think, than the Bucks. So they haven't really come up against like that type of depth. But I would imagine they'd want the Celtics first. That's my gut.
Yeah, I think looking down Miami Heat's roster, like they're built, I think, quite similarly to the Raptors.
Yeah,
like player for player, like Dragic is a great point guard. Like I think he's been underrated most of his career. They got the shooters, Robinson and Hero, and then
Adebayo.
Adebayo. And
Adebayo, that's another. It's gonna drive Siakam nuts.
But I think
Siakam.
I think Jimmy Butler's the X factor there. Though.
Yeah.
If he's on, I don't think the Raptors have a real answer for a Jimmy Butler who's on fire. And I think Boston has the defenders to be able to do that. So I think Boston matches up better with Miami.
That's good answers, guys. Talking about the Bucks there, it was really cool to see Spoelstra just change up his coaching on the fly. Budenholzer literally has been a one-trick pony since last year playoffs. He hasn't changed that trick. Everyone knew what the Bucks were and what they're going to be doing, and that's why you saw him struggle a little bit against Orlando. And only winning one against the Heat that's a bit embarrassing. And Budenholzer is probably going to be out the door within the week, is what I'm assuming.
They said he's safe.
They said he's safe?
I just saw a report saying he's safe. Bledsoe's probably out.
Oh, wow.
Bledsoe's got to go. They were missing Brogdon like
big time,
tremendously.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was huge for them last year. So significant,
and he balled out for the first round for Indy.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's fantastic, but man, they just don't have the depth. It's unreal. Like they just got past Giannis. I mean, it's a good thing. Obviously, chat about this, but man, is Giannis headed up to the Raps? I mean, that's something everyone talks about, but this is at least they made a case for it. His team did.
Yeah, it's the Raptors that beat him in the past, not the most recent past. So we'll if Giannis looks like he wants to join the Heat, that's kind of like a KD move.
I would think just from perception alone, and seeing the heat that KD took, maybe he probably wouldn't want to go with the team that ousted him very recently. I don't know. Who knows, man? These
Who
things are all
knows?
speculative, but it'd be really cool. But they'd have to sell the farm, I think, to get him.
For sure.
Unfortunately.
And the Bucks are going to offer him a super max. So
Yeah.
that's hard to turn down. I know Kawhi did, but I don't know how many people are like Kawhi.
Nobody's like Kawhi.
Nobody's like Kawhi. Okay. Now, I know, Andrew, you're a huge Phoenix Suns guy. You're a huge Nash fan. Give me some of your thoughts on the MVP, two-time MVP, joining the Brooklyn Nets as the head coach.
Man, I mean, I was surprised. I didn't even know he was in. Did anyone know he was even in the running?
No, I don't know.
I had no idea.
I didn't even know he was around the game of basketball. Last I heard, he was like into soccer and like.
Yeah.
He has ownership, I think, in a soccer team. I don't even know, but he had always worked with the Golden State Warriors kind of behind the scenes, and I think he was very influential, but really chose a back. He didn't want to be in front and center at all. So he always kind of seemed like he doesn't need the spotlight type guy. So it's interesting that it found him. I was talking with a group of friends the other day about just can he execute it? I think, and he's surgical really with his understanding of the game. And the more and more people are talking about him, that's kind of the case. Just in him, he's not athletic compared to the majority of the NBA, but found a way to just really carve out a niche for himself. So it's like he sees the game at different levels, I think, than most. I've got to see him play like a bunch of times, and it's incredible. So in that sense, like, I think he understands the game, and the whole X and O's, I don't think will be a problem. My only concern would be how does a guy like that handle the personalities of Kyrie and KD when things really get going, because things are going to eventually they're going to get weird. They're going to face trial. Can he kind of, they have his respect now, or he has their respect now, but when things start coming unhinged and they lose 5 in a row, are there going to be comments? And I don't know. That's kind of my only concern.
Yeah.
And I would hope that if he absolutely stinks at coaching, which has happened numerous times, that his legacy wouldn't be tarnished, because it's a scary thing right now. It's like Steve Nash, oh my gosh, especially in Canada, he's like a demigod, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big risk that he takes, I think, to go out and put himself out there. He could he could become the next Steve Kerr, really, or Brad Stevens, but who knows? I think time will tell, but I think he'll do well. But player management will be probably the biggest thing, I would imagine.
For sure. Kyrie's ego scares me, and Kyrie's personality a little bit scares me, because look at every team he's left; they've gotten better, and that's going to be, I think, the biggest challenge. Is just he's got the Brooklyn has all the talent that they need. They have they don't need to make a trade for a third star, in my opinion. LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyrie, right there. That 1, 2, 3 is unbelievable. KD, you can play him at the 4 or the 5. I'm assuming KD is going to be, even if he's 90% of what KD was, he's still a top 5 player in the league. He's unbelievable.
Jarrett Allen is excellent, rim defender,
and
so is
DeAndre
Jordan. Like they're gonna have a good team.
Joe Harris.
Is Dinwiddie? When does his contract expire? Dinwiddie. Is he there for a while?
Sure. You gotta look it up, Drew. I think he has a couple years.
Yeah, Dinwiddie's great. And what LeVert did in the bubble there, oh man, like
he's a baller, man.
He looked like he was on the level of, he was like a Booker, right? He was kind of on that level. I think he was unconscious, hitting shots. I was cheering for Brooklyn against oh man, who were they playing? Oh, against the Blazers that night, because I wanted the Suns to get in on that
right
8 spot, and he almost did it.
Almost did it, man.
So yeah, Brooklyn's going to be
signed
good.
Through 2022.
Okay, yeah, he's got a few years still.
Yeah, they'll be good. So, but you kind of think almost if Kyrie's going to listen to anyone in terms of elite point guards, you'd think he would at least default to listening to Steve Nash, who's one of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA. Yeah. So hopefully ego and personality don't get in the way of that, because that would be a shame, I think. But man, they could be good. I think they could be a contender for sure next year.
I think the same thing was said when he went to Boston. If he's going to listen to anybody, it's going to be Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
And then they started losing, though.
Yeah.
Like they started underperforming, and then he started he didn't want to take on the lead role and take responsibility, right?
Yeah.
I think he wanted to always pass blame to others, and that's no way to. He's not a leader. That's the question.
Him and Katie are both so soft. Like, it's going to be them passing the blame back and forth to each other.
Well, I think Katie probably learned a lot, right? He learned a lot at his time in Golden State. I know he had a blow up there, but he's also got his pastor in Brooklyn with him. All right, Carl Lentz is his guy. So we'll see how maybe that'll help him, with his emotional state too. And he's just such a good talent that any team he joins in the East, they're a contender. Yeah, it's like they're fighting for that.
Yeah,
for that.
He's good, and he'll be good for years to come because he's such an excellent shooter.
He doesn't need the major bounce in his game or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, Coach, Drew, you have any thoughts on Coach Nash?
Oh, I'm happy for him. I just hope it works out.
Do you think he will work out?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say because, basketball is not my first sport I watch, but in every other sport I watch, when you see high-level talents like this take over coaching positions, I immediately think of Wayne Gretzky and just how much of a train wreck it was.
That's
but
fair.
I just hope he does a good job. He's got the right team to do it. He's stepping into what seems like a perfect situation. But yeah, balancing those personalities will be the toughest part. But I think that's more on the players than the coach. If they're not willing to work with him,
yep,
he can't do anything about it.
I agree. Okay, there's another guy that I wanted to highlight that I know, Andrew, you've followed for a long, long time. We've played fantasy basketball against each other, and I drafted him just before you, I think. And you were sending me trades all year to get him. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is who.
I'm on Wiggins Island. Always have been.
I'm also on Wiggins Island. A lot of Canadians have jumped off.
He's all but forgotten. Yeah, honestly.
He's the last quote I saw about Andrew Wiggins is we thought that's what Jamal Murray's been doing. We thought that's what Wiggins would be doing. So what are your thoughts right now on Andrew Wiggins? He's got a new team now, new scenario. How do you think he'll do, and what do you think about him still?
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins, man. You want to talk about mental head games? He's like the poster child of it. Yeah. He's still, I think, to be perfectly honest, he's still one of the most athletic guys in the entire league. He's only what, 24, 25?
About that.
Like, he's super young, and he just can't, there's some sort of blockade, right? It's a confidence thing. You see it. You saw it kind of exposed with Butler, who was, a bit of a culture disturber in Minnesota. But at the same time, man, he's soft. There's no question. Now, can he? He's never really had a great team.
No.
He spent he's kind of been, I don't know, shipped around a little bit and played a really weird role, I think, in Minnesota. But I think under this, I can't think of a better place maybe other than, I don't know, maybe some other systems that are really good for development, but Golden State's going to be unreal. And also the way his game, I think the way he plays is a great compliment to the shooters. He can actually get to the hoop. He can slash. He's really athletic. He's got one of the craziest, almost second bounces that I've ever seen, getting back up on an offensive rebound. It's insane. The guy is a freak of nature.
The dude can get a bucket. He can get a bucket for sure.
There's no question. He's an okay defender. They kind of thought he was going to be he was projected to be an elite 3-and-D guy, but he hasn't been elite. But I think that they'll really help. I think they'll help him, and I think his confidence will go up. I think, to be honest, I think out of all the Canadians in the league, yeah, Jamal Murray's he is blowing up, especially now. But I still think Wiggins has just as much potential as a guy like Murray. He's more skilled in a lot of ways than a guy like Murray. But yeah, it's interesting. Murray's just in control of who he is, and he's had streaky games himself, but
Right.
I love it, man. I think Wiggins could really come. I think he's got, the next few years to really like establish who he is in the league. If he wants to be a kind of journeyman guy, that's okay. That's totally fine. But I think he could become an all-star in the next few years for sure.
I like that. I think totally correct on that fit in Golden State. The culture of Golden State, and not have like he's going to be looked at as the fourth guy. He went from being first/second guy to being the fourth guy who he'll have a defined role. He doesn't have to bear all the weight on his shoulders. That's on Steph now, and he can just be a complementary piece that will elevate. I think it'll elevate him for his next steps as well. This time in Golden State, I think you're right. He can be a quality. At his peak, I see him being a quality second best player on a championship team. That's what I think his peak is.
But the problem with that, and we've seen this with Kyrie, is guys don't want that as to be their role.
I think Wiggins could settle into that role though, personality wise.
I could see that
Yeah,
too.
and I hope that I don't know him at all. So, but
Either.
but that's where I see the problem, right? Like a lot of these basketball, like a lot of the NBA guys or any sport, you want to be the go-to guy. You want to be the big guy in the block, and some guys would rather be the best player on a bad team than be the second or third best player on a good team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what blew up, talking about Kyrie again with like Cleveland. Like when he was in Cleveland, they could have won multiple championships there if he would have been willing to take on that second role, like second of three guys there. Like they
100%.
But if Wiggins, I think he's the third guy on this team. Like I wouldn't put Draymond ahead of
in terms of scoring, yeah, he's the third guy.
No, Draymond's fallen apart too. Like he's not what he used to be. He's not the best defender in the league.
Yeah, he's setting himself up for a career as an analyst, right?
Yeah.
Keeps popping up. Yeah,
I still think he's an elite defender, and he'll pick it up again this year. Steph and Clay and Wiggins will make him look good too.
He's a bowling ball.
Yeah.
The Warriors next year are going to be a top 4 team in the West.
Of course they will.
They got the second pick in this year's draft. They got
Who do you have moving out of the top 4 then?
Who do I have moving out of the top 4? Who's in the top? Is Houston 4th right now?
Yeah,
Houston
is Houston OKC, right?
Yeah,
4 or
Houston.
5?
Okay, move them out. They're OKC.
Well, OKC, man. Houston, yeah, you can shuffle Houston, but OKC's, man, those guys are on the rise. I think they got
Chris Paul's out of here though. They're saying they're trading Chris Paul.
SGA's
but
only
give Shea a larger role, man. He's stepping into it, but they have so many picks though. They do.
That's the problem in the West. You can't just say stuff like that. You can't just say, "Oh, they'll be 4th," because then you got to move somebody out. And
I'm moving them. I'm saying that's how good the Warriors are.
Warriors are going to be better than OKC next year. That's probably I would think so.
Yeah.
It's Clippers, Lakers. Lakers,
Nuggets.
Warriors. I would even say Warriors would be over.
Me too. For sure. Me too.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, Tamo, we have to call out Drew here. Me and Drew hasn't listened to the last few episodes. Me and Coach have been teasing Drew about some of his picks. He had Indiana as a sleeper team going all the way in the East, and
all the way.
Also, huh?
I had them beating the Heat.
No. You had them with Sabonis.
Yeah, with Sabonis
Going all the way to the final.
Yeah, So why is that laughable? They didn't have Sabonis.
It's laughable.
Well,
That's laughable.
TJ got put in his place, right?
Yeah. Come on. That's
Although I
laughable.
love TJ Warren, but man,
And
and
right-
And then you also have the Nuggets going all the way and winning the thing.
They're not out.
Nuggets are down 3-1, bro.
Yeah.
They're done.
No, they're not done. They'll push it. They'll push it.
They were down 3-1 last series, so I could totally be wrong. To come back down 3-1 twice would be impressive.
And they're good. They're good.
They are good.
They're good, deep, and young. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to be good for a while.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree. I
and
agree.
Porter with Michael Porter Jr. Man,
Yeah. What a story. And
that's
And once Millsap's salary's out of there, like they got they got room to spend too. I think
know
he's the
what?
highest paid player on their team.
Millsap. Oh no, Millsap was good, but he's the kind of player that expires really fast. Like in terms of his
He
body.
plays so hard. He's like Draymond.
Yeah.
wow.
But Bull, come on.
Bull. I like Bull too, man. He's exciting. He's exciting.
He is. He's fun.
Okay. Lastly, we'll just do this quickly. What is your call for the NBA Finals? Who makes it? Both of you.
I got to go with the Raptors Clippers final. The showdown with Kawhi in the old squad.
I love
And
it.
although I'd love to think the Raptors would win, I think it's Clippers. Clippers in 6 or 7.
I love it. I didn't even ask you for the championship, but I'll take that. That's good. Drew, you got to call it out just for fun.
Oh, I don't know.
I won't tease you anymore.
It'd be so much easier to do this after tomorrow's game's over.
It's true.
I'll tell you what's happening tomorrow.
Well, yeah. You know what? I'll go Miami, LA,
Which LA?
Lakers.
Miami and Lakers. Yeah, that's
I think the way LeBron and AD are playing right now,
they're
like,
nasty. They're
it's-
nasty.
When they're at the top of their game, they're unbeatable, I think.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I don't know about that.
And
Pretty
with playoff Rondo,
Playoff
Yeah.
Rondo. Yeah. If there's supporting
It's-
cast, if
it's
playoff
a
Rondo.
playoff Rondo's a real deal.
Yeah, he's
like-
nice, man. He's nice. And Kuzma's coming into his own. Kuzma's
Who's,
coming.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So okay. You got the Lakers and the Heat. I'm with Andrew all the way. Kawhi Leonard is on next level basketball again. He's just unbelievable. Like he's doing everything. It's even his passing is better than last year, and he was always okay at that. So Kawhi Leonard, best player in the NBA right now, in my opinion, leading them to the finals.
In order for them to do that, though, here's my one point. In order for the Clippers to make it, they have to close out Denver the next game.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying Denver's going to beat them, but Kawhi can only have so many miles on his legs before.
So I haven't even really been following. I remember when we were following last year, it was like every single time he's jumping or landing hard on it, you wince, right? Because you're like,
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah.
we can't. That leg, you're aching for it. But now I haven't watched. Is his leg an issue
No,
still?
he looks like he's just been rebooted. He's plugged in and he's like fully charged as a robot.
Yeah.
And he's fully oiled up, man. He doesn't look hurt at all. And he's
robots
playing
run out of batteries too. So
Ooh.
yeah, and playoff Paul. We've been calling him pandemic Paul, but he's come to play now. He's finally woken up. He's out of the first round for the first time in 5 years, and Paul George is finally taking that sidekick role. And they're deep, man. They're also deep. Harrell and Zubac are gonna try to beat up on AD like they usually do, and we'll see, man. It's gonna be a show. That's gonna be like, get your popcorn ready. You just want LA. We've been begging for that all year.
And you want the Clippers. It's been so many years. I went to a Clippers game in like 1990. Oh man, say 96.
Nice.
1996, when they used to play I think it was Inglewood, their old stadium.
Wow.
They were such an afterthought in the league. Like, I think Brent Barry was on their team at that time. I saw them play the Seattle Supersonics.
Wow.
Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, Detlef Schrempf, all those guys. But
Wow.
they've been an afterthought. The Clippers have been in such an afterthought. I mean, they had some exciting years with Griffin and Paul, but
Lob City.
Have they ever
I
even
would
been to
love
the
for
third round?
what's that?
Have they ever even been to the third round?
Maybe they've been kind of like, this is their time. You know what? They could beat the Lakers.
Yeah. I'm hoping the Lakers beat them because I think that's a better matchup for the Raptors. I don't want to face Kawhi Leonard at all.
But don't you? Don't you want it to be?
Yeah,
like,
I do. I want it, but I don't like the outcome. I think, but who knows?
I'm exactly with you, Andrew. Exactly with you. Well, we'll end like this, boys. Last year, the Raptors were in a Game 7 in the second round, and it ended up with the most epic shot in Raptors history. I got to experience that live.
No.
It was life-changing with my brother, the coach. I think we're going to see something special tomorrow night again. And go Raptors. That's all I got to say. Is go Raptors. They moved their game to the night slot. We got the prime time to play. It's never happened before. So let's go. Let's go.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today, man. We're looking forward to seeing all that's going on with Youth Rise. We'll do our best to help promo in any way you can. We throw up any sponsorship stuff that we have on our website and promote it on our Instagram. We're big fans of you, and we thank you. And hopefully we can get going on some of our Gospel of Sports book, audio book, and maybe even real physical book one day too. And
I'd love it, man. However I can play a part in that, I'd be honored. This was awesome. Thanks for I love chatting basketball. For what it's worth, I think about it lots, and it's good just chatting with other guys who know it, and you guys know the game. And I love this idea. I love the podcast. I think it's great. So thanks for this opportunity.
Awesome. Well, peace out, world. We'll see you next week. Go Raptors.
Woo. Peace. Samara and Jane is an Australian-based accessories retailer with all of the latest fashion trends from around the world. Ladies, update your style game with gorgeous earrings, necklaces, and other jewelry for affordable prices. And guys, you can shop for that special lady in your life too. Use discount code SPORTSREV30 for 30% off your entire order. That's SPORTSREV30 for 30% off your entire order. Use discount code at checkout at samaraandjane.com.